Good morning and welcome to Cover Your Assets. We've got Todd Bricker in the house, Craig Nestor, and Derek Walgrave with you today, and you can join us anytime during the hour. We are live and local. It's 855-835-8500. That's 855-835-8500, and also online at coveryourassets21.com. Good morning, gentlemen. How's everybody?
Good morning.
Good morning, Kelly.
Well, not only can you call us live here in Eagan, but now you can like us on Facebook, which I guess is progress for that.
Like us on Facebook.
What is that Facebook thing?
Oh, come on now. You tag me every week. No, let's just come on. Come on now. And guys, we've been here doing the show a little while now here on The Patriot. Love talking to people about all the things that affect people's lives. I like to think of you guys, this whole group, as a prosperity engine. We drive it, we fuel it, and we also can repair it. So tell everybody a little bit, each of you, about what you do, and give me a little bit of a story. Let's start with you, Mr. Derek Walgrave.
Well, I'm a real estate agent, broker, and we try to help our clients, and when they come into us and they've got their situations, it's not always, and Jason and I just talked about this, it's not always a situation where they're going to work with us. They may have a situation that, that they have a financial situation that they don't need representation on selling their home. They may want to stay in their home, and that's where Todd and Craig come into place, and that's kind of the idea of when they're meeting with us is identifying where their issues are or potential issues. Mm-hmm. Or and a lot of times it's just we have clients coming in. I was just telling you the story a little bit ago, Kelly, about representation. Mm-hmm. And we had a client call into our office and ask for us, and they had more or less questions on a house that they had an offer in on the property, and they didn't have representation. They went in and it was a short sale. They wrote up the offer, facilitated by this other agent, and they were asking questions like, is it normal for us to pay, the $3,000 attorney fee on the seller's behalf of the short sale? Is it normal for this? And it's like, no, it's not normal. And that's what they were told. So they were sitting on a short sale offer, and they've been there for 90 days, and they had gotten approached now by this agent, said, hey, this is a normal thing. My sellers can't afford this. This is a normal thing. You guys can. You want the property. It's $3,000. So and they
you get in life what you negotiate, right?
Right. Well, they didn't have representation, and they came in and they were like, "Is that normal?" It's like, no, it's not normal.
You just stumbled right on something, the new now. We talk about it every week here on Cover Your Assets. And so when you initially, Derek, introduced yourself as a real estate agent and you talked about this association that you have, people used to think that real estate agents were in and out, and that's when things were moving quickly. Well, they don't now. Now you're part of a bigger financial picture, right?
Exactly. And a lot of times when we talk to people, it is advice. We don't pick them up as clients. This is the way it is. And a lot of times sometimes they'll talk to us and they do have representation. And it's, look, we can give you advice. We can't obviously represent you, but this is how it typically works. And a lot of those situations come in, and it's extremely valuable to have a team like this so that you can refer each other out on each situation.
Well, speaking of that, this is a very interesting group because Todd, Mr. Exclusive Access today, you get an hour of being able to not have to pay his huge, staggering fee. I tease you about it, but you don't have skin in the game necessarily for the advice that you give. So you might decide to send somebody to Derek. You might decide to send somebody to Craig. But what is it that you do?
Well, that's exactly right. I'm kind of the director or traffic cop. It's interesting as Derek described that. I might have the ultimately different perspective on that because I look at a homeowner who's $100,000 upside down and the idea that they're going to pay more money to get rid of a house when they've already lost a ton, that's absurd to me. Now, look, as I said, you get in life what you negotiate, so
or what your representative negotiates
Absolutely. So my clients, as I always say, are people who've never missed a payment in their lives, are often in a financial crunch, although they may not have missed a payment. They'll tell me they've used and exhausted resources like retirement accounts, cash advances on credit cards, and they're running out of money. They're doing everything they can to make their payments on time, and they'll say as much, and they'll say, I feel as though all I'm doing is delaying the inevitable. So my question is, do I just let the bank do an orderly liquidation on my business? Do I need to consider foreclosure, short sale, deed in lieu, loan modification, credit counseling, even maybe bankruptcy, and then how do I rebuild my life? So all of this is about, how to get through that process and how to be successful. I have many clients who will come to me and say, well, I know I need to do a short sale. Why? Well, because I talked to a real estate agent, yeah. And I mean, that's part of the issue. You talk to a CPA, your major issues are your tax implications. You talk to an attorney who does bankruptcy, well, then obviously bankruptcy is the answer to your problem. If it's a real estate agent, well, then of course you need to do a short sale, and on and on and on. So my job is to know everything about all of these different aspects, and then to bring it all together in a cohesive strategy. So an example of that, I had a client who came and told me that obviously they needed to get rid of their house. There's no question, because they just simply can't afford it. And my perspective is always that something isn't better than nothing, meaning lesser payments aren't necessarily fixing the problem if you can't make the lesser payment any better than you can make the bigger payment. We've got to get you to a position of solvency where you can fix your financial problem and rebuild your financial life. So they tell me they got to lose their house. They got a $200,000 first mortgage. They got a $100,000 second mortgage. And I say, let me tell you something. If you lose your house, you're gonna change your payment from what you've got now into a rent payment. You'll go from $2,300 a month into another payment, which instead is going to be about $1,500 a month, and that's an $800 improvement in cash flow. However, when I look at your personal financial situation, I can see that you got $90,000 in credit card debt. So even when you're walking away from the house, you still can't sustain the payments. What if instead we could go all the way to the extreme, something you probably don't even want to consider, but what if we talked about the fact that you could file bankruptcy, strip out your second mortgage so you would not have a second mortgage in your bankruptcy anymore, eliminate your $90,000 in credit card debt, modify your first mortgage to a lower payment. You'd no longer have credit card debt nor a second mortgage, and now you'd be solvent and you wouldn't have to lose your house. Are you sure you still want to short sale your house? And they'll say, my God, can that be done? And I say, yes, it can be done in your particular situation, not in all cases. So when it comes to making these decisions, it's always from a position of financial accuracy, something that everybody thinks any idiot with a calculator can do. And the problem is they don't take it into a real serious perspective. And when you tell them, they tell you they'll do anything to keep their house. Okay, but when you show them where they're spending their money, Christmas, birthdays, anniversaries, and all these other things, and all of a sudden they realize to keep the house, they have to take their kids out of hockey and their daughter out of dance. Now all of a sudden they're not so sure they want to keep the house. Well, the reality is if they didn't look at that, they wouldn't be able to make that accurate decision, and rarely do they ever do that.
And you need somebody that can sit back and take the emotion out of it and help look at it from all the different perspectives. And so Craig is another person on the side of the triangle that we talk about every week here on Cover Your Assets. Craig, how do you fit into this whole team?
Well, like what Todd says is the client comes to him with already a decision made kind of in their mind, and where they base that decision from is information. We all make our decisions based on information available to us, and so they go to the gospel, the internet.
Google.
Right. And so, when you read articles about people that are upside down, they have their strategies for that, and that's what they think that they should do. And as Todd points out, that is a devastating mistake. It's not always information. Sometimes it's revelation or inspiration or just a real straight talk about the truth. I had a family that called me last night. I was I was on the phone speaking with them, and they were going to strategically walk away from their home. Upside down, foreclosure in the neighborhood. It's a very typical conversation. They wanted some coaching on how to navigate the sheetrock toboggan all the way to the bottom of Foreclosure Mountain, and we're going to walk out of here with this pile of dough and go to Never Never Land with the money fairy. Well, the problem was the $67,000 second mortgage, and by putting it all together, what I uncovered was they could refinance.
Really?
You didn't have to walk away. You could actually refinance your home, have some extra dollars, live in a lower payment, handle some debt, and come out of here in 2 years unscathed.
Right.
So sometimes it's not always about the information. Sometimes it's the accuracy and the truth that really helps out.
Sometimes they have just enough information to be dangerous.
Right.
That's the problem.
That's exactly
know
it.
your options.
And depends on who it gets. I want to ride in that sheetrock toboggan just once, Craig. 855-835-8500. It's 855-835-8500. CoverYourAssets21.com. Coming up on account of the new now, get control of your numbers. Guest Arliss Richardson, CPA. Cover Your Assets returns.
As we go